Okay. Okay, welcome to the program. So we'll just take a few minutes to start the program. Hope everybody's doing good today. So we have a number of people joining, and I really appreciate all of you joining the program today. We have a very exciting program, and it's a series of programs. And with this, I can introduce myself. Good morning, good evening, and greetings. My name is Naman, and I'm the host of this program. And we are. This is our first session on this topic of data science and analytics. This is a thought leadership series. It's going to run over the next several months, and I am the co-founder of Industry X, and I welcome everyone to this session. And I also welcome our panelists, very a lot of expertise and thought leaders within the data science industry. And with this, I like to ask Dr. Chinam to introduce himself, please. Go ahead, Dr. Chinam.
Thank you, Naman. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Industry X webinar. I am Ratnabhabu Chinam, Professor and Chair of the Industrial and Systems Engineering Department at Wayne State University. I have been here at Wayne State for the past 20 years. I am a co-founder for Industry X along with Noman, and also the lead for the AI, Big Data, and Analytics group at Wayne State. I had the pleasure of collaborating and assisting companies, small to multinational companies across many industries, automotive, healthcare, defense, retail, as well as the startups over the past 25 years. Graduated over 45 PhD students over the past 25 years and published over 150 articles. Excited about Industry X, developing its ecosystem and ready to serve your needs as we work to leverage Industry 4 and other technologies to drive operational excellence.
Nabil?
All right, good day, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My name is Nabil Rod, and I'm the VP of Data Science at GM Financial. For the last 20 plus years, I've been involved in applying data and analytics to solve business problems and enable strategic transformation. First with Ford and Ford Credit and for about 19 years, and then currently with GM Financial. The applications that I was involved in include business operations, product development, and risk management, just to name a few. And these were across different countries across the globe, in the US, in Germany, Australia, China, India, Japan, and South Africa. So it's really interesting, the applications of analytics across different countries, different cultures. And then I'm happy to be associated with Industry X and its mission, and it's great to be part of today's discussion as we continue to promote a dialogue aimed at improving the practice and discipline of data science and analytics. So welcome to the webinar.
Wonderful, Nabil. I'm so excited to have you on board, and also Dr. Chinam. And so very quickly, I just wanted to say a few words about Industry X, what we are doing. So Industry X is a center of operational excellence that fosters innovation, evolution, and acceleration of business excellence. With our extended network of industry partners, faculty, academia, students, society, and the government agencies. Our mission is to develop a structured innovation ecosystem that leverages technology and human ingenuity to design and maintain world-class operation and services. Some of our key objectives are to promote operational excellence, to promote regional resilience, prosperity, and growth, incubate ideas into breakthrough solutions, and solve some of the difficult and wicked industry problems. We also like to foster a learning ecosystem for academics, industry, and students. We like to create synergies for collaboration, research, and innovation. And last but not least, we like to empower entrepreneurship and stimulate thought leadership. We're open to everyone. We have a great momentum. We started in August last year, and now we are starting with this program. We're taking our engagement to another level. When we thought about this topic of data science analytics, one of the key things that came to my mind that the leaders in data science analytics are winning. You take example of Netflix, how they're using analytics to position content and cater content for individuals. If you look at Amazon, how they're using data analytics, not only in their shopping or in the platform, but also in Whole Foods, connecting with their customers and the suppliers. You look at an operations company like Pepsi, who are using data insights to improve operations. So these are some of the examples of how the leaders in data science and analytics are winning. I like to understand more from Dr. Chinam and Nabil. Do you agree with this? Are you seeing the same patterns? Give us some thoughts from your side, please.
Sure, Noman. As we all know, for decades, right, US firms and firms from the West have dominated markets, international markets, right, across industries. However, with globalization, right, we are seeing tremendous competition across all industries and sectors, and no sector seems to be immune, right? Even the most capital intensive industries, for example, the automotive sector, doesn't seem to be immune, right? We have, for example, we are seeing what Tesla has done to the automotive sector, right? Being valued, 10 times more than some of the best global brands that have dominated the marketplace for decades, if not a century. So with intense competition, shrinking development times and margins, the need for effectiveness and efficiencies and business agility is critical for business survival. This is on the top of the minds for senior leadership in most companies, right? And that's what the surveys tell us. And so data science and analytics is foundational, right? To be competitive, to survive, and to sort of dominate in this marketplace. So that is what data science has to offer, right? A lot of companies don't effectively leverage the data that exists. If the data exists, it is siloed. Systems are not in place for companies to sort of be effective with their decision making, and the processes tend to be slow, things of that sort. So there is a significant opportunity for companies across industries to improve their current state of operations in data science and analytics. That's my perspective, in working with companies across industries for the past 20, 25 years.
No, thank you. Thank you for your perspective. Nabil, you're working in this industry for a number of years. You have such a great experience. What are you seeing?
Well, just to also build on what Dr. Chunam mentioned, I think the pace of change and the need to adapt has accelerated to a level that is really requiring not just what we call heavy investment in data science, but really a rethinking of how we should work. And it's really about waking up every day and really thinking, well, how can I not only improve on the past day, but how can I reinvent myself? I mean, that's the level of change in the industry that we're seeing across different domains. And so, I think leaders in this space, they think differently, they operate differently from other companies. And I can tell you, based on my own experience with my own work, with peers from different industries, I've never seen success rates over 60% in data science, and it's really due to a lot of issues. But some of the things that come to mind is that many companies, they look at data science as a service instead of as an advisory capability, right? So those who lead well, those who actually leverage data science the right way, have data science with a seat at the table at the highest level of the organization. And they listen to data science, and also data science understands the business, right? And that's a key requirement. The other one is that they don't put data science up front, and that's what I call data science upstream. When, for example, you're designing a process or redesigning a process, you have to redesign it with a specific data expectations in mind up front. So that's another key item. And then the other one is that many organizations, they are more control oriented as opposed to learning oriented. And so they should focus on proof of value, for example, instead of focusing on proof of concepts. They should focus on experimentations and having less rigid processes. And in the process, they accept a level of inefficiency, but that inefficiency pales by comparison to the value generated from learning. And so these are some items, and then their people in those leadership companies, what they do, they spend a lot of their time being productive. I mean, I've seen engineers spend over 60% of their time trying to find data, right? So when your time and energy is spent trying to find data, you're not really solving business problems.
Wonderful. These are, I think, great thoughts to start the program. So this program, I just want to take a little pause here about this Fotomax, which is part of Industry X. And this program is brought to you by the Fotomax. So what is Fotomax? It's a community of faculty, industry leaders, and students coming together to create awareness, to solve some of the difficult problems, and to connect and brainstorm and communicate. And this project was designed and conceived and developed by this community. And I thank Nabil for stepping up and becoming part of this. So I'm gonna towards the end, I'm gonna show you the full program. Right now, we have designed about 8 programs. We are planning to do these programs every month, the last Thursday of every month, and topics ranging from strategy to infrastructure to organization and anything that you can think about in data science. So the idea is to bring value to the network and to share some of the lessons that we have with people like Nabil, Dr. Chinam, and other guest panelists that we are planning to bring. So with this, you in 2006, Clive Humby coined the phrase "data is the new oil." 2017, economists wrote the world's most valuable resource is no longer oil but data. So these are some very strong statements, and the argument is that the same way the oil fueled the economic growth of the 20th century, data will be the catalyst for the economic growth of the 21st century. The data including the big data, IoT, machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning will be guiding and differentiating um, the way that we work, and we drive organizational efficiency, operations, and the business models going forward. And that's a key point that I'd like to maybe hear from both Nabil and Dr. Chinam about this new business models. And if we look at the growth in data science or data, the global big data and business analytics market was valued at 168 billion in 2018 and is forecasted to grow to 275 billion by 2022. So tremendous growth in a space. My question is that why data and why now?
Sure, Naman. Data is certainly everywhere, all around us, and it is exploding at an incredible pace, Naman. People are estimating that data is doubling every 18 months, right? All the data that we have generated in the history, right? We're going to be producing just as much data in the next 18 months. So that is the world we are living in, right? With all our smartphones and, sensors at our homes and at industrial facilities and, digitization of, supply chains and all that is generating a lot of data. And some of this data can be structured, very clean. Some of it can be unstructured. Could be big, could be small, could be streaming, could be static. But what it allows us to do is to sort of observe, what is happening, allows us to understand the relationships, and through proper analytics, we can begin to control outcomes. So take, for example, a COVID patient being admitted into a hospital. Right, we collect a lot of structured data, right? We take the patient's blood pressure, maybe temperature, and few other vitals, along with a lot of unstructured data that might be collected. Is the patient coughing? How is he coughing? Right? What are the chief symptoms, complaints from the patient? What is the X-ray image telling me? Right? It's an image, and so on and so forth. Right? To diagnose the condition and provide proper treatment. The same thing applies, right? So if you look at different business applications, how Google does routing, right? Who among us doesn't rely on Google Maps to do, to find the path, the most efficient path to avoid traffic, right? We didn't have that 10 years ago, right? How does Uber match drivers to customers? It's a born through analytics company. What is it that they provide, right? They are leveraging data to efficiently position drivers, match drivers with the customers, right? And they're disrupting the taxi industry. How does Amazon make tailored recommendations for you and me, right? For all I know, they could be carrying 1 billion products on the platform, right? And of course, they have hundreds of millions of customers, but they're leveraging all this transactional data to understand, what is it that customers want and make effective recommendations. And they're also utilizing the same kind of data to manage their warehouses, what products to carry, how much inventory to carry, how to, manage, efficient deliveries. So data is the lifeblood of an organization, right? Without proper data infrastructure, there is no way to really manage the operations of the firm. Long gone are the days where we could rely on our own instincts to be able to basically say, this is what I think will happen, and this is how I want to position my resources, and things of that sort. Those days are long gone. So we need to, improve the way we go about leveraging the data that we have access to be able to drive efficiencies, across all aspects of the business, all the way from, say, marketing products and services to how we develop products, how we manufacture products, how we manage quality, how we distribute products, how we service products. It could be that, the product is instrumented and it is constantly streaming data to me, the manufacturer, on how well the product is, performing, at your facility or at your home, things of that sort. So that is why data is important. That is why data is the new oil. It has become cheaper for us to collect this data. Computing infrastructure has become cheaper. Our analytics methods have improved. We are able to handle large data sets. So that is the reason why, this is promising. And most companies are not fully leveraging, what is possible through effective data science and analytics, irrespective of whether it is big data or small data.
Right. Nabil, what do you think? What is your perspective on this?
Yeah, I mean,
Is it like necessary? Do we need this? Do we need it now, or can we wait maybe a few more years? What do you say?
Well, I think it has been happening for a while, and we need it yesterday. And I think our ability to really understand and deal with the data that's been exploding, that ability has really lagged, right? So there's definitely a faster pace of data availability, if you will, sensors all over the place, cell phones, etc. And our ability to truly leverage this data is just not there. And that's where the problem is. And I think the problem starts with really understanding what I call the value elasticity of data, right? And I think data is, in particular, with the type of data we're getting these days, it's highly elastic. You can introduce just a couple of small data elements into a process, and it makes it an entirely different process altogether. And so I think companies really need to focus on that. And I can give you an example. In one instance, I was running a global business center, and just on one particular process, we captured 6 new data elements. Now, granted, these elements we haven't even thought about collecting before. But when we started really thinking and being innovative about how we can leverage data, we were able to capture 6 additional data elements, and those generated over $12 million in cost reduction, and they've improved customer experience by 3 points.
Wow.
And so that elasticity is something that I think companies really need to think about, because I think then the light bulbs come on and it becomes real for them. But it's a cultural change, and as we know, cultural change tend to be very slow. If you think about the data that vehicles generate today, right? So OEMs have really the upper hand when it comes, for example, to usage-based insurance. And then the question is, okay, well, how nimble are they in capturing that or capitalizing on that opportunity, right? It's that data is a gold mine, and I think there's a lot of opportunities that can be had very quickly, but it's been really very slow. And so,
Got it.
you know, at the end of the day, this comes back down to decision making, and the way I love to talk about decision making in the context of companies is that a strong decision making capability is to an organization what an immune system is to the human body, right? So it enables us, you know, especially in the times we live in, right? It enables us to be efficient, to take timely action, and to deal with threats. And it also enables us to adapt and to be resilient. So if you think about decision making in the context of the capabilities of an organization, you're really looking at processes, resources, and priorities. And so the question is, where are today the data priorities for companies, and how do they align with business models, right? How long does it take to establish a new delivery channel in the face of COVID, right, or any other kind of a crisis? So that's, to me, a key question that many companies should be asking. Where are our data priorities?
Wow. So I love this idea of the immune system and the decision making. And this is fundamental. But I see a lot of confusion around this data science analytics. I see like all type of things like this, the big data is too complex. It sits in the cloud. It is not safe. We don't know. It's very costly. It's for big companies only. And this data is going to replace us. So, but what is this data science analytics? Give us some insights on this, so that a lot of confusion around this term data science analytics.
Sure, Noman. Noman, data is being used by everybody, right? You go to Walmart, what products are they carrying? How are they managing the inventory? It's all data driven, right? You need to know how the product is selling and make sure that the supply chain is efficient, right? How much how much inventory do I carry within my warehouses? You rely on data, right? I already gave you the examples of, Google is constantly collecting traffic data to be able to help us route. So it could be sitting in the cloud if that is the right solution for you. It could be sitting on your, on your company premises if that is the right solution for you. Irrespective of the location, it is about, leveraging the data to be able to make more effective decisions. So we already hinted at data being the lifeblood, right? Without data, we can't make effective decisions. So it is about making effective decisions. That is what it is, simply put, right? So whatever kind of a decision, whether it be a strategic decision on should I enter a market, should I open up a plant, what kind of technology should I, select? How do I capacitize, right? How do I staff? How do I operationalize? How do I plan? How do I deliver? All these kinds of questions can only be handled through proper, data and data science and analytics, right? So concrete examples, we have already listed a lot of examples. Say for example, Amazon, we all are interested in keeping the equipment up and running, right? So, maintenance is something that the industry cares a great deal about. And then, and then we have been, developing predictive maintenance methods for decades, right? 4 decades, 5 decades. Amazon recently launched a product they call Monitron, right? They give you a device that looks like a hockey puck, right? $200. You throw it on whatever asset it is that you want to monitor, and then they give you a gateway to connect it, and it bypasses your data collection infrastructure and pumps the data to their cloud platform, and it starts sending you insights on how that pump is running, or how that motor is running, and so on and so forth, right? So what they have done there is sort of make it easy for companies to be able to just sort of pursue predictive maintenance. But that also presents some challenges. In this case, that part doesn't know how you're trying to run it, right? That you are loading it a lot because you have a lot of demand and things like that. So it's not able, it doesn't have a 365-degree view of what you are doing with that piece of equipment. But but this ability to quickly understand what's happening with the asset, right? I mean, so Amazon is trying to provide those kinds of services at a low cost to help people better utilize the data and better manage the availability of their assets. Another example from a different industry. So currently we are involved in a collaboration with Henry Ford Health System. Hospitals are a decade behind the manufacturing industry when it comes to data science and analytics, in particular from an operational perspective, right? They didn't have a good data backbone until 10, 15 years ago, right? The electronic health record systems are now more commonplace thanks to the Obama administration and giving the industry close to $50 billion to incentivize them to sort of deploy this infrastructure. So now they have the data backbone, but they don't have much of an analytics platform that sits on this infrastructure to guide the highly complex operations within healthcare, a lot more complex than the manufacturing industry. So we're trying to basically develop some technologies, real-time operational intelligence platforms that can collect real-time data about what patients are coming in, what conditions are they presenting, and what is the state of the hospital, and how do I sort of orchestrate the flow of patients so that patients don't have to unnecessarily experience prolonged waiting times and things of that sort. So we're currently working with some AI technology with the Children's Hospital of Michigan to help improve radiologists better understand brain MRIs for neonates, right? These are 1-month babies, 2-week babies. Brain structures are not fully developed. Can AI assist the radiologist with better diagnosis? So we can go on and on and on about examples. I struggle to think of a setting where we cannot leverage data science and analytics, right? A couple of years ago, I was doing some work with Domino's, right? Domino's, their franchises, right? They're in the business of, delivering pizza. They heavily rely on data science and analytics to understand how to staff these franchises, right? How to manage the efficiency. Currently, I'm involved in a project with Urban Science, where we're trying to basically advance dealer operations. So developing some AI technologies to provide tailored recommendations for dealers on what product to carry, right? How to manage marketing, how to manage the sales staffing function, things of that sort. So data science, so simply put, it's about making effective decisions, and yeah, I can't think of any industry that doesn't care about making better decisions.
Nabil, how are you using this technology, and how is the company benefiting from this technology?
Yeah, I mean, to me, Naman, I think let us take a step back and think about what's going on here, which is intellectually we all understand what data science is, right? And it's a to me it's a creative process, it's a scientific process, and it's very much multidisciplinary. I think the examples that Dr. Chuna mentioned really provide a good example of the diversity of applications of data science. At the end of the day, if you think about the way we have tended to work as large organizations, we put a lot of emphasis on planning. Well, to me, planning is dead. right? I mean, back to your comment about, organizations not being able to leverage data science the right way, and being afraid of tackling or putting their data in the cloud, for example. To me, it goes back to how holistically an organization is thinking about data science and about data, right? And so, are we organized the right way to leverage data science? And I think there's a bit of a naive approach in many companies where they say, well, let me hire a few data scientists, someone to manage the shop, and then we're done. And that's just absolutely not the way it works. Data science needs to be embedded in every aspect of the business. It needs to be in the culture. And so, and in my case, and with my experience, I've always championed and tried to make data science embedded in every aspect of the business. And I've made it a point to hire individuals who you would not think necessarily as being part of a data science team or needing to be part of a data science team. Psychologists, people who have degrees in neuroscience. A lot of what data science is about dealing with human behavior. And, oftentimes, we tend to focus more on the technical skills, and we miss the point of how data science can actually be a good lever. The other point here is that I make it a point for data scientists to basically fully understand the business, to immerse themselves in understanding the business. That's the only way they can speak the language of the business, gain the credibility of the stakeholders, and have a seat at the table. And so it's really much broader, unfortunately, than what, even today, if you look at courses and training around the world, there's so much focus on the technical aspect of data science and not so much on, how do you influence, right? How do you think about data science holistically? How do you reorganize as an organization for data science? It's not about just adding a department. It's about how you integrate data science in every single department. How do you think about communication without a company, with a company? It's there are a lot of nuances that I think companies miss, and the improvement tends to be very incremental, and then they lag behind. They lag behind the data explosion. They lag behind other competitors in being nimble and resilient. So that's really my perspective, Noman, on this one, very quickly.
No, good points, Nabil. And I think as we move forward in this program, this is why we put a program together. We can go deeper into each of these details, organizational detail, infrastructure details, all the other aspects of this. But I want to go to the next point, that when you're trying to implement a program in data science in a company, and everybody understand, every single company, if you talk to any CEO or any executive in a company, if you ask them, do you agree that data science is important? 100% of the people are going to say, yeah, we need data science. We need to move into data science. But yet I see that majority of the companies are lacking. Majority of the companies are complaining about that we're not getting the benefits or the ROI for this data science investment. And my next point for this is, I want to talk about this, is this concept of leading with value versus leading with data. So this from moving from this data-driven approach to a value-driven approach. How, Nabil, how are you driving, or how are you bringing this concept of value in the company, in making decisions, in making financial decisions, making decisions for projects, resources, everything? How's value is becoming is a centerpiece for you?
I mean, that is a key question, right? And to me, the key item here is that, and the recognition we should all have is that value does not come very quickly as a way to understand the business. Value emerges, and value is tailored, value is shaped by experiments. And the traditional approach, right? If you go back to how we've worked in the past, you go and do some analysis and develop a business case, and then you pick the one with the most value. Well, that's not how it works in reality. It's not how it works in an environment where there is a pace of change that is very, very rapid. And so you build that value through these experimentations, you build them through a culture of experimentation. And that's easier said than done, because I've seen cases where a company says, well, you know what, we are now a culture of experimentations because we're running experiments. But if the executives, every time you have an experiment, they say, you know what, no, I know better, this is not going to work, you're really putting a lot of conclusions, and so ahead of the data, ahead of the facts. And so what needs to happen is that the culture needs to be more modest, more humble, and more patient in letting the data speak for itself. And so that's a big problem today in organizations, and it starts at the very top. The executives tend to think that they know better than what the data is telling. They may not be as patient as needed to wait for these experiments. And so you end up having an environment where you have this confusion about what the conclusions are, and what's data driven and what's opinion driven. And that's a big challenge that we face in a lot of industries.
Right. Go ahead, Babu.
No, go ahead. I mean, while you transition, Noman, I just want to basically, it's all about aligning data science initiatives with the pain points of the business, right? If you're struggling with quality, what can you do to basically improve your, quality issues, right? If you're struggling with warranty. So it all starts with the priorities of the business, right? And it's, we should move away from this mindset that it is about a project, it's about a department, there is a team here, they do data science, right? In the end, we have to democratize data science and analytics, right? The frontline worker should be able to basically do, certain kinds of analytics. And the more advanced functions can maybe take on more challenge. The culture within the entire organization. Yeah.
Right. No, I agree. And I want to bring one example here, which is very interesting. I was reading about this example. There's some research done by Harvard Business Review, and they wrote this report. But this example is coming from a tractor company, John Deere. We all know, okay, what is John Deere? A tractor company. Okay, they make these combines, they make these tractors. This is the image that we have. So if you ask anybody, what is a John Deere, a tractor company, a combine company, a farm equipment company? But they used data science to transform this company from a tractor company to a data company. And this is the value that we see. This is the evolution of the business models that is present in this current environment using data science. Uh, so over the last a number of years, about almost 10, 20 years, they've been transforming the company from a pure equipment manufacturer into a data-driven technology company. And why they're doing this? So that they can deliver more value to the farmers. They can help them to collect data. They can improve productivity. They can improve their crops. They can reduce costs for them. And this, the whole focus is move towards the value for the customer. And this is the main idea that we talked about, that this, we need to lead with the value. The value is not like just like make a department for data scientists. And so with this, improve productivity, they increase efficiency, reduce downtime, reduce cost. And this is how they innovated their business. For one case study, one example, and this this farm management, it comprises of farm equipment, weather data, seed optimization, irrigation system. So what they do is they collect data from the machines, for example, fuel, location, hours, equipment, RPM, vibrations, things like that, using sensors that is embedded in their equipment and also in the field. Okay, um, and they have a system called Field Connect. So they collect all this data from the equipment and the field. And then also they collect data from the external sources, for example, how the weather is going to be, how's the commodity pricing, and all these other factors that is part of the farming business. They upload this data to a central cloud warehouse, and so that it's available for the farmers. They can make decisions, and with this, the farmers are winning, their suppliers are winning, and the company has transformed itself from an equipment company, which was a commodity business. So understand this: the businesses like these type of businesses are they have become commodity business, and companies are struggling to move away from this commodity business. Look at in Detroit, F, Ford, GM, Chrysler, commodity business, you know, and they're struggling to move out of this and improve their margin, product, and efficiency. So this is a great example how this company has moved away from equipment to management. And with this, I like to talk about call for action. How can we go from reactive approach to proactive? Um, how can, number one is creating the sense of urgency and building this guiding coalition. How important is that, Nabil, in your eyes, in your view, for companies to adopt this sense of urgency and building an alignment within the stakeholders?
Absolutely. I think that that's really a basic and really critical requirement, which is, as I mentioned before, planning is dead. You can't just plan and keep aiming, before you can take action, right? So you've got to be able to try, different things. I think the key challenge is, and in some of the projects that I've been involved in, we were able to, for a specific project, and we put this as a practice, always understand the network of champions, the network of lukewarm supporters, the network of objectors. And I think if you do that, you really try to get a picture of the appetite and how you need to move forward. And so the question then becomes, whose job is it to get people aligned, right? And oftentimes, it falls on data science to go and bring the executives from across different functions together to be aligned on a specific project or a product strategy. And so that's really missing, and that's where in the way I've been implementing data science and building data science teams is to have data science teams that have business people embedded in them, so that and those individuals come from the business, they have influence, they have their network. And so data science is not a monolithic type of an organization. It's actually very diverse in its makeup, and but you know it's really it does start with that sense of urgency, with being able to take risks, and companies that are not taking risks, they're falling behind very quickly.
Right. Dr. Chinam, a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Can you give us your perspective? I know we're going to go deeper into these points in our next webinars.
Sure.
Just give us your perspective on these key points, please.
Sure, Norman. I mean, your point number one is probably the most important. It is the responsibility of the top leadership to orient the company, to set the culture right. And this is not, I hired a data science team and, I am there, right? This is about transforming the business to get them to be more data-driven. Maintaining that focus, right? So that is most important. And, as they, looking at the chat, Gary and others are talking about, it's not about what data science can do for you. It's about aligning data science and analytics with the priorities of the business. What are your pain points, right? And making sure that, that alignment is established, and starting small, right? Gary is commenting in the chat saying, well, let's talk about the automotive OEMs. Well, they're highly engaged in data science. To some extent, I will disagree with Gary. I mean, they have hired a lot of people, but without proper alignment, right? You hire, like one of the OEMs in town hired over 500 so-called data scientists without strong alignment with the different divisions of the business. I mean, people like Nabil tried to establish strong alliances with the different functional units. Data scientists cannot do much without strong domain knowledge, right? That's very well understood, right? It's not about methods, it's about understanding the realities of the business. So it's not about just building a large data science organization to be able to deliver value. So they have to be an integral part of the way you sort of do your business. And it calls for a lot better clarity and leadership support. And so it's about really understanding the pain points, and then recognizing that this is about transforming the way firms do business. And somebody else commented about commodities. Not all companies can transform their business models. So, but even within commodity businesses, there is a lot that can be done to basically drive efficiencies, right? If you mostly compete on price, so be it, right? What are the opportunities that are available? So not everybody has the opportunity to, fundamentally change the business model, but data science has a role to play in many, many organizations, because there are, inefficiencies are still systemic, in particular in the established industries, in the established companies. Yeah.
Right. I just want to maybe cap it with the way that I see data science transforming. There are four ways that you can transform. Number one, business model innovation. We need to think about how can we use data to innovate new businesses, and we're seeing companies are doing that. Okay, Google, Facebook, and many other companies are doing that. That business is based upon data. Number two is improving our efficiency, re-engineering operations. How can you improve efficiency in the business, which is internal? Number three is how can you rebuild your organization using this data-centric approach? And number four is how you can revitalize those customer relationships And those are the four ways I think we need to think about as we move forward. And I think we're going to talk some more about business models and strategy and those things in our next seminars. And I take with this, I'm going to take it to the next slide, which is a recap of the program that we are bringing. Next program, we're talking about the data to value strategy. How can you build a successful data to value strategy? And then we have programs on infrastructure, organization. One key point on data is always the single source of truth. How do you do that? Then we are talking about leading with context, operational excellence and resilience, and implementing a data governance framework. And as we move forward, we're thinking to add some more programs to that. But with this, I want to stop here, and I like to take some questions from the audience. So if they have any questions, please feel free to give a shout, add to the chat window or in the Q&A. So one question that I've been asked, and it's just coming to my mind, is that with this large amount of data, and there's someone asked this question in the chat also, how do you manage this large amount of data? How do you store it? How do you manage it? And so this is a question I saw in the chat.
So it's a
either Nabil or Babu.
Yeah, it's a very broad question. I'm not necessarily a data infrastructure person, Noman, but it all depends on the kind of data, right? And there are all kinds of technologies out there. Technology is changing very fast. So, right, if there isn't the expertise within the firm, you need to partner with the right entities to sort of identify a solution that is best for your business. So there are a lot of technologies, people have been pushing different kinds of technologies, right? I mean, data lakes have been pushed, and Spark and Hadoop computing have been pushed, and things of that sort. So one has to better understand the needs of the business and then identify the right kind of infrastructure that makes sense, whether it be an on-site solution, or whether it be a cloud solution or a hybrid solution. But the technologies are there. I mean, if the likes of Google are able to manage terabytes and petabytes of data, most other businesses will be able to develop solutions that make sense for them.
Got it. Nabil, your comments?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I can add a little bit more on top of that. I mean, obviously, these days, if a company doesn't have a data strategy, then it doesn't know how to do data science, right? So you're have to have a data strategy in place first. And then with that data strategy, there has to be an understanding of what are you trying to do with different data elements, right? So assuming you've got the right governance in place, the right infrastructure, and the right ingestion processes, ETL transformation processes, then the question becomes, what are you doing with the data? Is it to understand the customer better? Is it to understand the markets better? Is it to improve efficiencies? Is it to create new data products? And so that data strategy has to be aligned with what are we envisioning? What are the strategic vision for the company, the business model, and how we're trying to add value at the end of the day. But and I know this is beyond the scope of today's discussion, but I'd love for us to have a deeper dive into data strategies, what they are, what they mean, how to set up one, because without a data strategy, you're basically not able to even leverage data science the right way.
Right. So the next program on March 25th, we're going to go a deeper dive into this data to value strategy that Nabil is talking about. So with this, we're out of time, and I thank you everyone for connecting to this webinar today. And I'm hoping that you will continue to be a part of our other webinars so that you have a better understanding, a holistic understanding of this subject. But this is just one way of connecting with us. You can reach out to us through either our website or our LinkedIn page, uh, and join our ForumX program. If you're our student, if you're an industry professional, if you're a faculty, come and talk to us. We meet regularly in these forums, and then we can bring a lot of value. We have some new programs that we are bringing on this platform as well. So with this, I'm going to stop here. I want to thank Dr. Chinam and Nabil for your time and such a great value that you brought to this. And I wish all the best for everyone, and we'll see you soon. Thank you, Dr. Chinam. Thank you, Nabil.
Thank you, Nauman.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Nauman, for organizing this. Appreciate it.
Bye all, and stay safe.